Hello, creators. How are you guys? Happy 2019. This is my very first live stream / podcast recording for 2019, and I want to talk with you guys about some goals that we need to be focusing on in 2019 in order to continue growing our channels, reaching people, changing their lives, because YouTube continues to change and evolve, and 2019 will not be the same as 2018, which is not the same as 2017, certainly not 2016, 15, right? This thing is changing, evolving over time, and so what I want to do is share with you guys 6 different goal categories that I am focusing on personally in 2018 for my channel, or 2019 for my channel. Flipping that switch is so hard, right? Like, I'm going to be signing dates on checks and things as 2018 for like a long time to come, I'm sure. But for 2019, the things that I am focusing on, and I think these are 6 categories that each of you guys as creators should be focusing on as well. And then I'll give you like a little example of what that looks like for me. But first of all, welcome. I hope you guys had a great New Year's Eve. I'm recording this. If you're listening to this later, watching this later, this is New Year's Day, and I did not stay up and watch the ball drop last night. My kids, they don't care. We have 7 kids, in case you don't know. Our oldest is 9. Our youngest is just turned 1. So we had 7 kids in 8 years, and they don't care what time we go to bed. They don't care what day it is. They always get up early. So we were one of those people who went to bed before midnight. We stayed up and played Settlers of Catan game, board game as a family, as with our older kids, and then went to bed. So we had a good night. For those of you guys who are here live in the chat, love to hear what you guys did last night for your New Year's Eve. But for New Year's Day, we are all here in the same place talking about how do we grow YouTube audiences, how do we grow our channels, and what does that look like in 2019 as we go forward, and what are some of those things that we need to focus on. And this list that I have for you guys, it is different than like the list I would have given you this time last year. There's a few things that have changed on it, and there's some things that we need to focus on more so going into next year than we even had to this past year. And so I wanna help you guys think through some of these as I've been thinking through them myself. So I set goals beginning of every year. Last year, 2018, well, in the end of 2017, but heading into 18, I don't recommend this necessarily, but we had about 28 goals set. And they weren't all just for YouTube. Some of them were business goals. Some of them were YouTube content goals. Some of them were just new things we wanted to make sure we started doing and tracking and implementing and things. So a lot of different levels, which we'll go through here in a second. But I hit a milestone as a creator and as a business last year when we actually met. Past couple weeks, my business manager and I sat down, revisited all those goals, and we have a whole Trello board that's just dedicated to our goals for each year. And I can say, which I think is pretty cool, that we accomplished and met 26 of our 28 goals. So there's 2 of them that we didn't quite hit, but 26 out of 28, I'll take it. Now, there's a few different ways to make goals like this. You can say, well, Tim, yeah, you hit 26 goals because they were all so low. Or there are things you're already doing, or there are things that you just need to send one email and boom, it's done, right? Or something like that. Yeah, you can set them low. I actually personally go the opposite. I'm like, let's make these goals so outrageous that if we hit them, it would only be because it was we worked really, 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 really hard. And so I tend to let's set goals that I think are unattainable, but at least I know what I'm shooting for. And if I set them that are attainable, I might just kind of start to coast and slow down as I say I just met the goal or something. But I worked with 2 different business coaches actually, and one of them advised me and said that no, Tim, you're growing a team now. There's 10 people now who work on my team. And they're like, you can't set up these big goals. In the book Good to Great, Jim Collins calls them BHAGs, right? Big, hairy, audacious goals. Like, and those are the businesses and the companies that go from just being good to great. They have these like outrageous goals. So I like setting them. That's kind of how I think and operate. But for the sake of my team, they get a little frustrated if you're like, hey, we keep setting these goals and we're not hitting them. So this year we did, everything's great. But 2019, I'm setting them to be a little bit more actually like I think is going to be absolutely attainable, as opposed to like, we could possibly hit that if we just like worked really hard for the next 12 months, right? So, and the way we break down these goals before I jump into these categories is I think that you need to first be able to know what's important. Like what are your main objectives as a content creator or as a business owner? What are you trying to accomplish? Why does this business matter for you? For me, this isn't because like the normal things you grow a business to make money, right? And that's obviously part of it. But like one of my ownership objectives is I like employing people. I like giving people jobs who might not otherwise be able to have jobs, whether because of the stage of life they're in, like they just had a baby and they can only work during, like they can't travel, go to an office anymore. They need something online. They can work from home. Whether it's a disability thing or whether it's someone just needs a lot of flexibility with their time or like whatever. Like I like that part. That's an ownership objective of mine. Another one is like I want to be able to be home to homeschool my kids, to be a dad first and foremost, and grow a business and a channel that supports that goal. What happens is, you guys know as creators, if you just let the business / channel thing go, it overtakes everything else. And I think that's normal actually in our society, especially for us guys who tend to be like have this like a lot of our value and self-worth is like wrapped up in what we do as a career and for a living. And it's easy to let like the goal of the business and the channel is just to keep growing it. Wherever it's at, grow it further, whatever. And there's never like a point where we're like, hey, you know what? We're content with this level of income. We're content with this level of growth or where we're at because it's meeting our goals, the ownership objectives that we set for our channel and our business. We are meeting those. And so I would encourage you guys to write down like a number in terms of revenue, income, channel growth, whatever. Like this would help me meet my goals. Right. And so like, for example, we've met our income goals. Will continue to work because I do believe that anything that's not growing will start dying. But like, I don't need to take necessarily another, I'm making up numbers here, a $50,000 contract project to work with someone if I don't need the $50K because we're already making what I said this is what we need to make as a family, because that $50K is going to take me away from the family, away from the things I said were most important to me, and start spending more time on the business for no reason other than more revenue, which, does that make sense? So set your ownership objectives, your goals. Those are like, that's like your guiding light. Those core, and set some core values. Those are the things that are going to keep you focused on the right path at the right destination so you don't get distracted by all these opportunities. They're just distractions that are camouflaged as opportunities, right? So have that goal for that main, and I think those should be wrapped around beliefs. Like the main thing, what are we trying to accomplish here? They're best if they're kind of like a mission-oriented belief thing, not like revenue. I think money is like is actually a result. It's not a goal. It's like it's an indicator of something, not the thing you're actually pursuing. So, I mean, and I think you guys know what I mean. We could jump into all that philosophically and everything. But, yeah, you guys are in the chat. You guys get this. I can see you guys. Story Greenlight. Jeff is saying priorities, huge. Yeah, have like whatever those ownership objectives are and set and write them down so that you don't get distracted. And so you're not get like falling into this hamster wheel of like, oh, I just need more views, I need more subscribers, or, I just need more money, or I just need more of this other thing. Like, what if it was, I need more time with my wife? or I need more time with my kids, or I'm at this point, I'm using an example. I don't even know who my kids' best friends are anymore. I don't know who they're spending time with. Like, maybe I need more time, like, for that, right? So whatever it is, set that thing, and the rest of these goals that we're going to talk about here, these 6 things, these 6 categories, all need to revolve around helping you accomplish your ownership objectives. And why are those things happening? And so the way we actually break down our goals is we have these big goals for each year. And so me and my business manager, Catherine, will sit down and we'll just list out a ton of them. And then we kind of organize them, and we put them into different categories. And we say, okay, this is one for Q4. And we break it down into 4 quarters. First quarter, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. And so each quarter we have goals that, like, by the end of this quarter, this is what we're going to accomplish. And we kind of then prioritize based on that. And so I want to let's talk about these 6 categories that I have. These aren't anything magical. These are just ones I think us as creators really need to be focusing on after we know what our ownership objectives are, what our core values are. And then I think you also, like, another way to think about that is, like, what's your 5-year plan? In 5 years, what do you want to be known for? Where do you want your channel to be? Where do you want your business to be, right? And in order to hit that goal, we need to backtrack. Now, obviously, what's 5 years from now? 2024 is going to be way different than 2018 and 19. So, but we need to have something out there, like, this is where we're going. And then you break it down into your 1 year, which is basically what I'm going to be talking about. But then I also think you need to break down your 1 years into quarters. And then even then, once you have those goals, break down what do you need to do each quarter. We should have what our team, we follow a business system, or we're learning to follow a business system, I should say, called EOS. You just, and what they call it is your rocks, right? So what are, like, if you want to accomplish something, you can't do everything you want to do. So if you have a container and you want to put all the stuff in, you got to put your big rocks in the container first, right? Then the sand, and then the water. Then you can, like, fill it up. But if you put, like, the water in first, and then the sand, and then the rocks, everything's just overflowing and making a mess, right? So you got to do it in the right order. And so we say, what are the big rocks that we need to do first in this quarter? So if you want to learn more about EOS, there's a book called Traction, which I recommend. That'll go more into it. I think the reading is kind of boring, actually. But if you work with an EOS certified implementer business coach, it's awesome. So the main category you guys can focus on. Number 1 is, you guys have heard me say this before, storytelling. So important, right? Like, it's so important. Okay. And if you guys want to learn more, you guys who are here in the live stream, Jeff from Story Greenlight, you can check out his channel. He talks a lot about storytelling from a YouTube creative perspective. So definitely go check out his channel if you want to learn more about that. And if you're listening to the replay of this, I'll put a link to Jeff. You're welcome, Jeff, in the show notes and in the description of this, and you can learn more about that kind of stuff there. But the reason storytelling is so important is because all of the signals that YouTube is looking for in terms of which content we should promote, which channels need to get more exposure, which videos need to be put in which people, all of that revolves around viewer signals. It no longer revolves around keyword matching and perfect tags and making sure you say your keyword 14 times in your video so that it shows up in the captions file. Like, none of that manipulative stuff works anymore. Google got really smart because they said, hey, just because that keyword is used 15 times in that metadata and that caption file doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best video for that result. They also learned that a lot of people lie in their metadata. They use keywords and tags because, well, this one has a higher search volume, so let's use that one instead of this one. Even though the video is not really about that thing, people are just trying to use that keyword because they think it's going to get more traction or something. None of that stuff works anymore. It's all based on viewer signals. Now, Google still does ask for that information, and so you still should give them good metadata about your titles and your descriptions and your tags and captions, but that's not what makes or breaks your channel. Excuse me. It all has to do with how people are actually responding to your channel. So we actually did a live stream and a podcast recording. What was that, like a few weeks ago? I'll try to put a link to that in the show notes as well. That talks about more in depth about how does search and discovery on YouTube work and going into 2019, and we dove more into that. But the summary for this one goal is you guys need to have goals regarding storytelling for your channel. How are you going to get better at telling stories? Because those are the things that actually get more watch time. Some of you guys here are even leaving some super chats about how do you get higher audience retention. And how do you get more people to watch longer? And how do you get them to watch more videos on your channel? All that has to do with optimizing content for people, not content for robots, right? And so the story stuff, whether you're an educational, DIY channel, vlogging, gaming, doesn't matter. Like all of those things are all those niches need to have elements of storytelling built in. Now I know it doesn't make as much sense. Sometimes you're like, well, how do I integrate story into educational content? Like I'm just teaching people how to do things. Well, and we've talked more about this in the past, both with Jeff from Story Greenlight as well as some other creators. You guys can check out those past live streams and podcast episodes as well, where we actually talk about like how do you do that? Well, how do you integrate that? But there's a lot of different ways to think about it. But one part is because like your content is integrating into someone else's story. Like they're coming to your video with a story that they're like, hey, how do I fix this? There's a problem. They're a character who's trying to overcome a problem, and they're coming to you as the guide to help the hero overcome that. Like there's a story built in right there. So we're not going to dive into that completely here, but I do think the first category you need to think through is how are you going to learn how to implement storytelling better? And so one of the ways I'm doing this personally is I'm working with some storytelling experts like Jeff, Story Greenlight in the chat here, as well as some other guys who've been really helpful. And I am putting together a 10-episode series that maybe you've heard me talk about. I have a few episodes are finished, but it's I still have a few more to go shoot. But I'm going all out. I'm hiring a film crew. I'm traveling across the country. We're scripting these, we're storyboarding these, and we're just shooting like, how can we tell stories that are going to be really engaging for creators that not only teach them what they should do, but give them the education in the context of a story that's actually going to change what they believe and shift how they think about being a creator. That's actually going to prompt them to take action rather than just giving them new information. They're like, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing there. That's nice to know. Instead of like, oh, I see that, but now I actually need to go do that and implement it because now I see what's at stake if I don't. Like those types of things, I want to tell those stories. And that series for story creating, I want to a whole series, 10 episodes, just of telling creators stories that are going to hopefully blow your mind and take everything I've been doing on YouTube to a whole new level. So I'm excited to publish those for you guys. Hopefully in the spring, but I still have to do some more travel to a few more creators and shoot some more parts. But we'll get that out for you guys as soon as possible. Number two, second category for you guys to think about is business. Okay? How are you actually going to make money from your channel? And for some of you guys, this is natural because you're actually coming at this from the other direction. You're like, hey, I already have a business, and now I'm using YouTube to generate leads or to get customers or whatever. And so for you guys, like that probably makes sense. But for those of you guys who are actually like more on the hobby creator, homegrown creator type of category, like you guys need to think of how you're going to make money on YouTube beyond just AdSense revenue, beyond brand deals, beyond like those things where you're just getting paid to sell other people's stuff. Instead, you need to have your own business, your own stuff that you're selling, whether it's a service or a product or whatever that is exactly aligned with the value proposition that your channel offers to your target audience. So who is it that's watching your channel and why are they watching you? That's target audience and value proposition. And then whatever that value is they're hoping to get from you, you sell that value to them in like 10x the format, the 10x the value they're currently getting from your content, but in a format they're willing to pay for. For me, this looks like this year. I already have products. I have services. A lot of you guys know what they are, whether it's ebooks like 30 Days to a Better YouTube channel, all the way to Video Labs, which is 8 weeks with me and my team in a small group setting where we're just diving into your channel with you for 8 weeks. Tremendous results coming out of that. So exciting to see what creators accomplish coming out of Video Labs. But I have a lot of the product development side down. What my business now needs, which one of my goals for this in 2019, is actually improving my customer journey. This past year, we analyzed, like, okay, how do we get someone from this step to this step to this step to that step? And what we saw was like, no one follows our customer journey. I thought it was, hey, buy this product or sign up for this free ebook, get these like 5 emails or whatever it is, and then get this $30 ebook, and then get more emails, and then buy this thing. Like, no one follows that. I mean, I don't know if it's because I'm just bad at it or it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, Be Adventure Partners in chat. Good to see you, Brian and Aaron. They said loved Video Labs. They just finished the last one. And you guys, if I remember, you guys were seeing some pretty good results at the end of it too. People are like watching your videos. Your audience retention went up. Your views were going up. Your engagement was going up. Like everything was on the rise for you guys. So good to see you guys here. Thanks for hanging out. But yeah, getting people like to follow a journey. And the reason I want that is not because I want someone to spend a little bit and then more and more and more, but because YouTube growth, the way I have it mapped out, is actually a systematic process that anybody can go through. But if you jump in at step 7 and you've missed 1 through 6, I mean, there's a lot of backtracking I have to do then with that person to get them brought up to speed so that they can take advantage of the product that they paid to get, right? And so it's not like everyone needs to follow it exactly. Like Video Labs, for example, kind of encompasses everything. But like some of the other courses and working with us as clients, people who work with us as clients, I just need a better systematized process for people to follow so that they get the maximum value for what we have to offer. So improving that customer journey. And so that means for me, like redoing the website, like 90% of our revenue comes through our website. So I need to I haven't touched that thing. I built it in 2013 when I first started Video Creators, and I haven't really touched it since then. And so we're doing a full-blown revamp of the website, building that out to be more aligned towards our customer journey. And I'm going to be working with some copywriters and internet marketers to figure out how to put all this stuff together. My expertise is in YouTube, right? I know how to grow a YouTube channel and hopefully teach you guys how to do it too. What I don't know is all these other skills that go along. So I do hire business coaches, and I do need to work with other people who their expertise is in customer journeys and in sales funnels and in all that. So far, I've just been not one man band, but in terms of revenue generation, it's all been me. And I'm learning now that in order for me to continue to still grow and be relevant by 2024, I need to start implementing some of these things here in 2019. So you guys also need business goals, whatever that is. If that's to start a product, or for some of you, it's like I have one in my mind, I just need to make it and launch it. And don't get hung up on all the things that are holding you back. Like you need perfect whatever, and you need to figure it. Just do it. Just get started, right? Just do it. Number 3, third thing you guys you need to have some goals for are. Some of you guys might not like this as much, but us creative type people tend to resist this. But it is, you need to have some data goals, okay? And regarding your YouTube analytics and regarding the data that you want to see there. Now, this is more on the the YouTube channel side, more so than the business side. This is what are the main things that you want to grow in your analytics this year, and then just focus on those things. Hey, I need watch time. Okay, forget about traffic sources unless it relates to watch time. Forget about end screens. Let's just the power of intense focus for a period of time on one thing as opposed to getting scattered on a lot of things. There's a lot of things I need to focus on in growing my own channel, my own channel. And there's some things that I know would grow it, I just don't want to do, right? Like I just don't want to make another video like how to upload a YouTube thumbnail, how to upload your first video, and the real way to get more views on YouTube in 2019. Like, right? Like those videos are great and a lot of people are doing them, but geez, like I want to start talking about next level stuff. Like what's like those of you guys, all right, you got like already have 10,000 or 100,000 subs. What's the next level? How do you get to 1 million? How do you go from 1 million to 10 million? Like those are the things that I want to focus on, those types of strategies. And they're not going to be nearly as popular, not going to be nearly as discoverable or wide, because a lot of you guys as creators, like you don't have time to sit down and watch YouTube like you used to when you were first getting started, right? So I expect some analytics to actually decline as I go after a more specific audience. Like I already take like an audience that's pretty narrow, actually. YouTube creators who speak English. And then even which I don't know how many, my guess is like there might be like 1 million active creators, active being people who have uploaded a video in the past 30 days who speak English and are actively trying to grow their channels. I'm guessing there's like if I got 100%, there might be like 1 million of those, but I don't actually know. I'm just kind of making up that number, but I'm going to be more specific. Okay. So some stats might decline, but I'm going to enjoy who I'm working with. I'm going to enjoy digging into some next level type stuff myself and hopefully talking about that here on the channel, which, content wise here on Video Creators, I think you can expect to see, tradition. I'm getting ahead of myself. I shouldn't be telling you this yet because I don't even have it fully fleshed out yet. But I usually talk about YouTube strategy, and I'm going to continue to talk about YouTube strategy. But I also want to talk more about revenue strategy, making money strategy, business strategy for your channels, and story stuff with your channel, because all these things are all going to be important, as well as analytics. Okay. So bring us back to what I was talking about. Sorry, I got off on a little tangent there. But I have some goals that I am going to be, analytics that I'm going to be focusing on and digging into once a month and then also once a quarter. So I know it's easy for you guys, and I'm not this way. I tend to be like the creative guy who just likes to throw things against the wall and see what works and then look at the data. But some of you guys, I know you're looking at your analytics every day, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to intentionally say I'm just going to back off, and I'm going to like, okay, what's my goal for this month? I'm just going to go make that content. And then at the end of the month, or beginning of the next month, once the data is kind of poured in, then I'm going to go back and evaluate that month as one whole chunk. And there's a few things I'm going to be looking at. For me, it's primarily going to be audience retention. I really want to get my audience retention higher consistently and start learning it. And you guys have already seen me doing some of those types of experiments here on YouTube with my backgrounds, changing those out. And I'm finding that different types of backgrounds and environments are impacting audience retention. And so I'm specifically trying to get, can I get 50% retention at the end of every single video? Okay, so half the people who click play, are they still watching when that video ends? That's what I'm going after. And then it's going to be, can I get them to click and watch another video? And I've already been doing a lot of that so far, but I think there's some big things I want to try to continue to do next year to even improve that even more. And in order for me to do this like the way that I want, it's going to take a lot of work. And so I have a few strategists on my team who work with clients, and I'm going to start having them, one of them, do more of this type of work on my own channel and treating myself as a client. Sometimes I feel like the old car mechanic who like drives a clunky car because they spend all their time working on other people's cars. That's me. Sometimes I feel like I have the clunky YouTube channel because I spend so much time growing on other people's. I'm like, okay, I'm going to divert some of our resources and energy from our team onto our own channel, and let's do the things for ourselves that we say that other people need to do, and start doing that. So that's have some goals in your analytics that you need to do. Okay. Number 4. So important. A lot of people overlook this. Okay. Number 4 is I think you need to have some goals regarding key partnerships that you need to make in 2019. Now, these key partnerships could be, and relationships could be a wide variety of things. But basically, the things that run businesses and grow YouTube channels, at the end of the day, this is all people. It's not, like we already established, it's not robots, it's not machines, it's not algorithms. All these things are run by people. And so in order to grow our channels and our businesses, we need to have key relationships and partnerships with people who can help us do that. So that could be as simple as like, hey, I'm going to do these collaborations and I need to form a relationship with that person. How am I going to form a relationship with that person? You know, like they are way much bigger than me. They have a lot more going on than I do. How do I do that? And well, let me say it this way. There's a lot of creators who, and I see it happening in the chat, even as this live stream, where you're not actually adding value to people. I'm not going to call you out by name, but you're just begging for subscribers right here. And this is more of an impromptu live stream. I wasn't planning this, so my producer, Laura, is not in the chat right now. And that's fine. I actually even texted her before I went live, like, hey, in case you get a notification that I went live, don't worry. You didn't miss anything. I'm just doing an impromptu live stream to talk about some of these things. Okay? But some of you guys who are moderators in the chat, please feel free to, put the spammers on hold. Put them in timeout if you like. So you're not actually adding any value to anybody. You're just actually asking for, hey, I need 5 more subscribers. Hey, I need this, or subscribe to me. I need this, or whatever, right? And that's not actually servicing anybody. So what I want to do, I'm going to talk about some of my key relationships that I want to build, but for those of you guys who need to build key relationships for the goal of growing your YouTube channel, a lot of that comes down to collaborations. And I used to have a whole dedicated course that I would sell for a lot of money on how to do effective collaborations, how to get someone else's audience to care about you and your channel, how to reach out to that influencer, how to even do collaborations over distance when you're not in the same room together. And then even once you do the collaboration, how do you actually keep those people engaged, those new people in your, so they actually like have long-term benefits rather than like a little shot in the arm of traffic that goes away. How do you reach out to larger influencers and creators? How do you start building a relationship with them in the first place? And I think some of you, thank you guys. Okay, some of the moderators are stepping up. Thank you. But some of you guys who have been through that course called Accelerate Your Channel Growth in the chat here, I think Be Adventure Partners, I think you guys did as a part of Video Labs. I'm not sure if you actually did or not, but those of you guys who went through it can talk about it in the chat. But it's like a step-by-step process for how do we reach out. So that course is no longer available anymore. I took it down because I made it a few years ago. A lot of it's out of date, but a lot of it is still relevant. And so for those of you guys who are channel members, which I see a lot of you guys here in the chat as well, thank you. Like Dan T, been a channel member for 2 months now. Thank you. I'm going to be making like a 45-minute to an hour training dedicated just for you guys, and publishing it for those of you guys who are channel members. And it's about like, how do we do collaborations? How do we build these relationships? How do we best reach out to these larger YouTube creators? How do we build a relationship with them? And it's actually a lot more reproducible and than you think. And these people are a lot more accessible than you might expect as well, because they make a living out of being accessible to their audience. So it's just reaching out in the right way and offering the right things, right? So we'll get more into that. With in that dedicated training I'll make and publish for you guys this month for those who remembers. Let's go road tripping. Hey man, good to see you again. He said, I did one collab on another channel with a guy in Australia. I'm in the US. It went pretty well. Neither of us traveled. Not too hard. All about communication. Yeah, you guys can do this. So if you're not already a member, click the join button here on the channel. You get access to a bunch of other dedicated in-depth trainings as well about how to make money on YouTube. And so if that business development is a thing of yours, I have a full 50-minute session, I think, that'll get you started and how do you start making more money. And it's called How to 150x your revenue. And it's not even a lie. It's actually simple math. How to like make 150x more. A lot of people go through that and they do at least 300 times more revenue. So you can do it. It's just about business models. It's more about business model and less to do about views and subscribers and popularity and things like that. And then, so then I'll have another one for those of your channel members for the key relationships thing too. Okay. And if you're watching the replay or recording of this as a podcast, there's a link in the show notes where you can become a channel member and get access to that material as well. And it's only $4.99. So it's like super, like if you're going to make an investment in yourself or your channel, like that's a super easy one to make. Okay. So my key relationships. I want to bring on another personality onto the channel. I need to form a relationship with someone that I can trust, who can talk about some aspects of like business development, for example, for you guys, more authoritatively than I can, and with more expertise than I can, and story, talk about that stuff more authoritatively and with more expertise than I can. Maybe even talking about some of these other platforms. Like online video is obviously not just YouTube anymore. And there's a lot is becoming much more a cohesive strategy between YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn now, and like a lot of those platforms that like is becoming a more integrated approach rather than how do I just dominate YouTube or something. So it's I want to build some of those types of relationships, and those are going to be ones I'm going to take very seriously and proceed very cautiously because I want them to be on board with our core values and our ownership objectives, and I want them to also believe that like reaching people and changing their lives is what this is all about, and people that I can trust because I can be giving them ongoing exposure. This is going to be a big business development move for me, but those key relationships I think are going to be important for me to continue to scale the value that we're providing for you guys and help you in bigger ways than we can as long as it's just me making content, you know. Number 5 thing to focus on, and this is like, you know, so we could talk about like all these analytical things, data things you need to learn and skills you need to acquire, like like storytelling and business development and analytics and forming relationships. Those are all skills. But I think, and this is the 5th category for me, is I want to focus on something that generates more excitement. Okay, this is more on like the touchy-feely in a non-awkward, weird way, and the more like things that like them intangible elements that get people like, oh, I love that, that's so great, you know, and get people excited about like you guys excited about what you're doing on YouTube and get you motivated and give me more energy for what I'm doing, and I want to feel more excitement for what I'm doing on YouTube. I've been doing YouTube tutorials since 2011, I think so, like 8 years now, and I'll be honest with you guys, like it gets a little boring just kind of like doing saying a lot of the same things in 14 different ways across 500, I think actually 900 some different videos, and I want something to generate excitement for myself and for you guys. And there's a topic for me that I think we really need to focus on more as creators that very few people are talking about. It's not a very popular topic. It's not going to get me a lot of views, a lot of subscribers. Just those of you who are the hardcore dedicated people are going to really will probably watch this, but that's okay because my goal is to actually serve you guys better rather than trying to serve more people on a maybe shallower level. And so the thing that I want to focus on in terms of that generate excitement for me and hopefully for you guys is not just the topics like about business and story and strategy, which we'll get into more as the year goes on, but more into the mental health side of being a successful creator. Not enough people are talking about this, you know, like where it's happening more and more and more where people are growing successful channels and then they burn out and they quit, or they start living their life just for views and likes and subscribers, right? And they start replacing their real life relationships with online relationships, and they start listening to the voices of the people who are just praising them and giving them, oh, you're so awesome, and they're no longer listening to the voices that are speaking truth into their lives and helping them actually become better people and better contributors of society and ultimately even serving their audience better. And being a successful creator can create a lot of isolation. And so there's just a lot of things there that I want to talk about these relationships that happen, these parasocial relationships, what it was called. And And a lot of the creator stories are going to be focusing on that series. Going back to this first category of story, a lot of those stories will be focused on those the impact that being creators had on people's marriages. I went to Toronto and did a whole story about a couple who are full-time creators. They work together. He's the producer, she's the talent, and the impact that it had on their relationship that they did not see coming. And they went to a lot of therapy over it, and now they're in a more healthy spot where they can talk about it. But things that people just aren't talking about, the loneliness, the isolation. I did one with a creator. He was like, yeah, I get lots of people watching me online, but my real life friends are actually very low, and I don't really have anyone that I hang out with once the camera turns off because I don't know who I can trust. I don't know who just wants me because of my views and popularity, or who, anyway, I'll get it on. I'm going to learn it right now. But those are a lot of mental health things, man. So much to talk about. Even I feel them as myself. It's really easy for me to sit in my office here and just be by myself for a week and never have to leave the house if I didn't really want to. And I do make myself do that because I know that's important for me to go meet with other guys on a regular basis and things like that. So what do you need to do in your channel that you think is just going to generate excitement, both for yourself and for your diehard viewers? It's not a growth strategy. It's just like, I need this for me, and I need this, and my diehard people really need this too. It's just going to get us excited. Story Greenlight, I see your super chat. I don't know why the icon's not showing up for you for being a member. So thank you for the $5, but I don't know the answer to the question. I'd have to work. I'm guessing it's a caching issue or something like that. I don't know. Sorry. Let's see here. Sable Picture Adventures in the chat says, I would really be interested in the mental health side of YouTube, Tim. Really looking forward to these videos. Cool. Thank you. Real makeup stories. Yeah, I've heard big YouTubers are depressed. So many. I can tell you stories. I work with him. One guy started working with me. He had about 6 million subscribers, and he said, it's almost literally what he said. He's like, Tim, you're going to help me fix these problems, or I'm going to quit YouTube. I'm like, dude, you're reaching, at that time, I think he was doing like 50 to 100 million views a month or something, and he had plenty of resources, but just didn't have the tools he needed to scale. And so today he's over 10 million subscribers, and he's doing great. He's got a full team, and he's like, Tim, now instead of working like 60 to 80 hours a week and feeling like I want to quit, I work about 4 to 10 hours a week on my channel, and everything else people take over, and I have time again for my family, have my life back. Those are the types of stories I want to hear more of. So I'll help you guys with that as well. About Science says, about mental health, if you need, look for help by professionals and not underestimate that side of your life. Yeah, and I'm not a professional in that. So that's the one thing I'm going to have to form some key relationships with people myself. All right, number 6. The 6th category is where I think you guys, this might be something more for me, but I think, and this goes maybe back to my first point of your ownership objectives, but I think, and I call this bucket, this category, I called it a challenge. You just need to have a challenge for yourself. Something that like gets you like, oh, wow, this is a little bit bigger than I maybe thought I could do. I could pull off. And this is a challenge. So I think you guys, like, what's the challenge for you this year, 2019, on your channel? Maybe it is to learn more about the story, or implement something business-wise, or to do something data-wise, or content-wise, or something. But I hope this doesn't come across as arrogant. I really like it when someone who has a meaningful message just blows up and reaches a ton of people. And I really get excited about it. Genuinely is what I get excited about. That is why I do what I do, is to see someone who's got a message that can reach people, change their lives, and just blows up. And I start hearing the stories, and I see it in their comments about how this content is changing people's lives and impacting them. And so what I want to do, one of the challenges I want to give myself in 2019, I'm a little bit hesitant to put myself on the line on this and put myself out there, but I'm going to do it because this is the challenge I want to do. I want to take a channel, I want to work with someone, and I want to take them from 0 subscribers to 1 million subscribers by the end of 2019. Woo! Okay, so it's totally possible. I've seen it done. I have clients who have done it, who have done 2 million in less than a year, 2.5 million, and so it is absolutely possible. I'm not open for applications. You know, I'm not like, hey, I'm looking for someone who wants 1 million subscribers. Who by any chance would want that? What that means for, yeah, see, there goes the chat. Everyone's volunteering now. Mine, I volunteer my channel. Yeah, see, yeah. I'm not looking for volunteers. I am keeping my eye open for a key relationship with a creator who's like, whoa, I love that message. That needs to be big. That needs to impact a lot of people. I'm keeping my eyes open for someone who like that needs to make a big impact. And something that I deeply care about, which would probably be something related to family, relationships, people, marriage, homeschooling, I mean, I deeply care about YouTube, but I think you guys get like these things, like someone has like a really powerful mission, maybe even, I'm not really a political guy necessarily, but even if it's something, I don't know. I don't really know exactly what it is. I have kind of ideas maybe somewhere in that box right there. And I just want to do that. And then it also needs to have like the potential to reach 1 million subscribers. Things that I don't control in terms of like content production quality and consistency and the time that this creator has to dedicate. I mean, getting that is going to be a lot of work for that creator. So do they have the drive and enthusiasm, and do they have the resources to pull it off? And can they, like, there's a lot of factors that go into this. Is this a niche that can potentially even hit that? Is the target audience, are there even 1 million people in the world that would care about that thing and be subscribed and really start engaging, right? There's a lot of things for me to consider. But that's a challenge. I want to, and I have done that actually, not 1 million subscribers, but I've taken channels from 0 to 60 million viewers a month, 15 million viewers a month. The 60 million was about 9 months. We took one channel from 0 to 15 million views a month in 6 months. So we've done this. What was the other one? It was a few years ago. I don't remember at this point. I remember the channel, but I don't remember the stats exactly. But it was also, 10 million plus, getting to 10 million plus a month views. We've done that. Now I want to be like, I want to do more of the conversion. How do we get now the subscribers and the engaged community around a specific niche and topic? So that's what I'm excited about. That's what I want to do. So those are my 6 goals. Those of you guys who are in the chat, I would love to hear from you what some of your goals are for 2019 and what that looks like. As you guys go forward into the new year. I know like a lot of you guys are like, Tim Bird's vlogs. I can't ever imagine 1 million people interested in my story. And some people are saying that like, I would be happy with 100,000 or 10,000 by the end of the year. 25,000 would be phenomenal. Well, what do you have to do to get there? There's probably a lot for all of us. So it's just like, okay, work backwards. And I would say something like Video Labs could be great for some of you guys, because I know Chapters We Love is asking about Video Labs. If you're interested in Video Labs, here at Chapters We Love, I'll put a link in the show notes. And for you guys who are listening later, I'll put a link to that as well. Just go to videocreators.com, click on courses at the top, and then you can click on Video Labs. Let's just do that. And you can find it there. But it's closed right now. It sells out every single session for the past 3 or 4 years I've been doing it. And I opened it up to 27 people this time instead of 20. And again, it sold out. So that goes pretty quickly. So hopefully that might be something that you guys would want to check out. But whatever it is, just commit to it and reach those goals. And set those ownership objectives and these, and maybe go through these 6 type of categories. I'm waiting for some of you guys to start sharing some of your goals here in the chat. Okay, here we go. Chris Conkle Vlog says, my goal is 50,000 subscribers, double the videos, which is 300. Wow. and tighten up my BP and content strategy. So that's a great 50,000 subs. I personally tend to set goals that aren't like subscriber related, but like more ones that are like more like related to the things that I can control, such as like I can probably control more of my content in terms of like audience retention. But subscribers can like what you do that, like, okay, what collaborations do you need to do to hit that? And how do you need to improve your content so 50,000 people are like easy subscribe to this channel? Like I need to, right? Like what do you have to do? A lot of good things there. So setting those subscriber goals is good. But just make sure that there's things that lead to that are things that you can control. Because things like views and subscribers and revenue are often more results rather than of other things that we can focus on, right? So I think you understand that. So thank you guys for becoming members. Hope you guys are getting that free that content in the as you become members, you get access to all that those in-depth trainings here on my channel that you guys can dive into in terms of growing revenue and things. And the other one that's coming out here later this month. Dan T says, my goal would be better work-life balance. Oh, good. Good one. While also growing. I need to figure out how to measure that, though. Yeah, so the way I'm measuring it, Dan, is by, I actually, about a month ago, started tracking my time. And I'm using a free tool called Clockify. It's clockify.me, hashtag not sponsored. But that's who I'm using. And the reason was originally is because my accountant came to me and said, Tim, like we're tracking profitability on a lot of these things, but we don't ultimately know how profitable some of these things are because you're not tracking your time. The people on your team are tracking their time with different clients and things, but you're not tracking yours. It's like, yeah, you're right. So I started tracking my time so we can see better how profitable things like Video Labs are and different clients and what kind of clients do we serve the best and the time I put into content creation and things. So now, even right now, I'm tracking my time. I started live stream for social media engagement on YouTube as a category, and I click start. And so far, I've been working on this for an hour, 1 minute, and 34 seconds. So so that might help maybe, Dan, by tracking your time. You can see I've already learned. I'm going to keep doing this, even though I really don't like it. It's not fun, but it's just like, but it's really helping me see where my time is going versus where I feel like it's going. Because I feel like I put a lot more energy into the things I just don't like doing. Right? Those things feel like they take up a lot more time than the data is showing me they actually are. And then I'm also seeing some things I spend a lot of time doing that someone else on my team can do, or I can hire someone else, or eventually plan to hire someone else to do. Things like that. It's really, really helpful. So if you guys aren't doing that, maybe, Dan, that would be helpful for your goal. Let's see here. Story Greenlight goal. I'm launching a Video Labs like multi-week course based around creative editing and storytelling. It's launching this week. Good for you, Jeff. Awesome. Hope that does well. That's a good, like, you're already taking action. Love it. Let's see here. Grant Shed says, I want to make a video at least one or more times every single week. I want to take my channel to the next level this year. That's great. For reaching that goal, Grant, just creating more content doesn't necessarily lead to faster channel growth. Usually making better content leads to faster channel growth. Now, better is very subjective. It depends on what your value proposition is of your channel and what you're trying to accomplish. But if you have energy to make additional videos, if you're already doing it at least once a week, I would say, how can you make that once a week video better? And I'm focusing more myself on quality over quantity. And a lot of that is just based on what I've been seeing is actually working on YouTube, depending on the goals. Like if some goals are great for like you do need quantity, but Dude Perfect is my favorite example of, like, they publish 2 videos a month. Every other Monday evening they publish a new video, and they're just amazing quality. 30 million subscribers, right? Doing 100 whatever million views a month. And they're publishing 2 videos a month, right? So yeah, okay. Hopefully that helps with that goal. Let's see here. 3B production company. We've added a podcast, a video cast, trailer reactions, and more things, all horror content related to your channel. Cool. So maybe adding additional types of strategies can help. Thank you, by the way, for those of you guys who are becoming members. Welcome, 6 Blind Kids and Fathering Autism, and some of you other guys who became members. That's great. Let's see. JCTV, our family adventure. We are looking to get 5,000 subscribers, but ultimately reach more people to inspire them to let nothing hold you back. We feature our special needs boys who inspire. That's great. 5,000 subscribers is a great goal. And again, focus on the quality of that content and how well you deliver that value consistently in every single piece of content to your target audience over and over and over again. So good goal for you guys. Hope you hit that. Mark Fendel, my goal is to make interactive music education videos for my channel. My subs can play along with the music on the video. Something different and hopefully fun. Great. Sounds like great. That's a great objective. Now the goals would be, what are you going to do every quarter for the next year to reach that goal, to make that a reality, and something that's a little bit more measurable. So but that could be a goal for you. Like, hey, I got a lot going on. My first goal is just to make a video. That could be a great starting point. But make it very tangible and measurable so that you can tell if the things that you're trying are actually working or not, getting you closer to your goal or not. Let's go road tripping. Thank you for becoming a member. Good to see you and appreciate you doing that. Let's see here. What else have we got? Moon Allured. One of my main goals is to really get my channel / brand in general organized in the way I envision it being. I also want to work on a schedule that works best for me. I don't do well with scheduling. Yeah, sometimes that might be a key relationship you need to build with someone who can help you stay on schedule. I have someone on my team, a personal assistant, who I don't do well with email. I get a lot of it, and I just wasn't responding to a lot of it, and I was falling behind and wasn't serving people well. So I pay someone around 15 to sometimes 20 hours a week now just to do email for me, and I know not everyone is in that position to do that. I felt like I needed to do that in order to serve you guys better. And I still get complaints of like, well, why did I get this? Why isn't Tim emailing me? It's like, well, I can't email everyone. I figured something from someone on my team would be better than nothing at all and just leaving you hanging. But I figured, like, if I want to serve people well, this is worth the investment. So sometimes having, whether it's someone you hire or not, I'm not saying that needs to be it, but just like, if you're not good at something, partner with someone who is and start growing that team of people that you work together with for things like that. jQuery says, my goal for 2019 is simply to be more consistent to more consistently put work into building what I am trying to build. That's a great one. Make it tangible though. So don't keep it intangible, make it measurable. So what does that mean? What does that look like? So what are you going to do? What do you want to accomplish by the end of first quarter of this year? And then what does that mean you have to do each month and then each week and maybe even every day? Like, break it down and hold yourself to working. Like, this stuff, just because you want something doesn't make it happen, right? So it's the wanting something and then the goals to getting it. Platy Gamer says, I'm trying to make videos. I'm reviewing people's skills in games. Great. That's what's the value there? Like, why? Why do people care about that? Like, flesh that out a little bit more. Why do people care about watching you review people's skills? What's the value that they're going to get from that? And then again, that's a great objective, but you got to turn that into goals step by step that you can follow and put it on your calendar and keep doing that, right? And follow that every step of the way for the whole year. That's what it comes down to. Not a lot of it's fun. Not a lot of it is, you got to make an investment. Like, I make investments into my channel with hiring people to do things or paying for business consultants to help me with things that I don't have, with skills I don't have, and maybe some of you guys need to do the same, whether that comes to doing something like video labs, or that is something like just becoming a member of the channel and getting access to the exclusive content, the in-depth trainings that I publish for you guys almost every month. Maybe even that's like a first step for you guys, just to learn. It depends. It's different for other people. So just focus on whatever needs of the practical step-by-step things you need to do to reach your goal. Tim's Guitar World with Tim Fescorn says, start treating my channel more like a business. Love it. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean for you? More like a business. Does that mean like treat it more like tracking time and resources and investing into it? And I know this is just chat. Like, we're not fleshing out the full plan here for each other in the live stream chat right now. But having that, but then breaking it down like we've been talking about. Flipped Classroom Tutorials says, I've set 3 goals in terms of subscribers by April, by September, and by December. I love it. That's how you're supposed to do it. 2 in terms of click-through rates and monthly viewer retention goals, approaching it more in terms of growth rather than just numbers. Great, yeah. Focus on percentages. Like, hey, I want to see 50% increase in revenue, which is a lot for some businesses. Others, if you've made $2 last year, that's not too hard, right? So it all depends. But making it percentage-wise, numbers-wise, just make it concrete. Cool, guys. I love all the goals you guys are stating in the chat. I want you to like hold yourself accountable to it now. If you're listening to this recording or watching the replay, do the same thing. Like hold yourself accountable to this, to yourself, to get this done. You want 2019 to be a great year for you, for your business, for your channel, for your mission, for your message, whatever it is. These things don't happen accidentally, and so I know you don't need me to tell you that you need to actually do the work, make the investment, whether it's time, money, resources, both, like whatever. Like, you got to make the investment, and sometimes making the financial investment saves a lot of time in the long run, which is I've learned definitely. Like, I can learn a lot of business stuff myself, but rather than become the expert in everything, it's better for me just to hire someone and work with a team who's already got the system and plan laid out, right? And so I do that because I get results much faster, and the money pays itself back much more quickly, and it's just a good investment to do that. So I know that hurts for some guys, for some people, but like, you guys can do this. 2019 is your year, right? And here at Video Creators, I'm hoping to work with you guys here with like content that's all aligned with some of the stuff that we talked about, and really help you be able to reach those goals, reach people, and change their lives ultimately. So, Let's Go Road Tripping says, goal, get married before the end of January, easily achieved. Oh, I guess you're engaged, so congratulations. You must be getting married this month. So congratulations, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to hanging with you guys more in our weekly private live streams for you guys who are members, or monthly live streams for you guys who are members, and doing all that fun stuff and seeing you guys around the community more often. So I'm going to be working hard for you guys. I'm going to be doing a lot of work building video creators, more topics, and like we talked about here, because I think it's what you need, and I think it's what's going to be essential for growing in 2019. And all these things I'm telling you guys, I'm going to be practicing myself. So I'll try to keep you guys updated with how it's going, and thank you guys all for being a part of this amazing community. I hope you all have an amazing 2019. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. And if you guys are listening to the podcast, I really do appreciate your reviews on iTunes. They really help us a lot. They really do, actually. It's like the number one thing iTunes like looks for. So if you're listening to the podcast you don't mind leaving us a star rating, be honest, of course, and just let us know what you think. I read them. I find them helpful to make the content better for you guys, and looking forward to serving you guys better in 2019. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great New Year's Day, and we'll catch up again next week for our next official live stream with co-host Renee. She'll be back then, and we will talk to you guys then. So see you then. Bye.